So the Avilas, unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Avilla, Rolando and Maria, lost their daughter Erica shortly after childbirth, just a couple weeks after she gave birth to Julian. And they decided that they wanted to adopt their grandson, who they have raised since birth. Unless you're in this situation, you might be surprised to learn that these parents that are raising these children that aren't officially parents do not have access to some of these services, and they're not able to make medical decisions, they're not able to make educational decisions, they're not able to make therapeutic decisions on behalf of their kids. There are no inheritance rights. So these people that are raising children need to officially adopt the children that they're raising, and that's the need that we had that had to be met. Well, there are about 16 steps to the adoption process, and if you're not familiar with it, and even if you are a lawyer, it is very difficult to navigate that 16-step process. And it involves criminal background checks and medical history checks and interviews and the appointment of an attorney called an amicus attorney and affidavits and petitions and orders that need to be drafted. And it's a very complicated process. It can take a year and a half on average. In Julian's case, it took actually almost 2 years, and it's very difficult to navigate without the help of a lawyer. One of the reasons that I love doing pro bono work, particularly for adoptions, is I call it happy law. And adoption day at the courthouse is one of the best days, and everybody gets excited when you walk into the courtroom, and a lot of the judges have stuffed animals behind their bench that they give to the children after they're adopted, and it's just a wonderful day at the courthouse. And when I went with the Avilas and Julian was dressed up in a suit with a little vest, and his parents were dressed up, and the amicus attorney was there. And as we proved up the adoption, we pulled up a chair for Julian right in front of the judge's bench, and he was all smiles. Couldn't have been more excited for his grandparents to officially become his parents that day. And the judge was smiling, and the court reporter was smiling, and we were very happy. It's a very emotional, wonderful life moment, and afterwards we took pictures, and oftentimes after an adoption there's clapping, and it's nice to be able to give back to the community and have a happy moment like that, especially after a family has experienced such a tragedy like they did with losing their daughter. Without access to free legal services, families like the Avilas would have this daunting task of trying to navigate not just the legal process, but a very complicated legal process within the legal system, which is adoption, in order to be able to adopt their grandson and make their family complete and official. And it would be close to impossible to be able to navigate this on your own. It's actually very complicated for well-trained attorneys to navigate this process. And it was so important for a family like the Avilas to be able to adopt their son so they can enroll him in pre-K before he starts school, enroll him in kindergarten next year, and also to make sure that they can make educational decisions for him, medical decisions, make sure that their now son can inherit from them. It's very important that they were able to have someone hold their hand and help them through this process and draft the correct paperwork to make sure that it was done properly. I believe that attorneys have a professional and ethical obligation to give back to the community. There are so many people that are in need of these services, and it's out of reach for so many people, and I think that we do have an obligation as attorneys to do this pro bono work. Also, I just think that it's the right thing to do. I think that it's important for all people to give back to their community, but particularly lawyers. I also think that it's good training in perhaps an area of law that you're not quite as familiar with. I know that I was trying to learn a little bit more about the adoption process and learn some skills in that area and learn the complicated 16-part process of finalizing an adoption. And so I learned a lot just by doing it myself. And so I think that there are a lot of reasons and that attorneys should get more involved in the community and provide these free legal services for those in need in our community. This process is extremely personally rewarding, and it's true what they say, that this is really billable hours for your soul.